Welcome to another episode of the Blazing Faith podcast. We are currently in a series called Rock Bottom. We just finished a series called I Feel Like I'm Just Surviving, and that's one that I feel like most people are probably going through right now. It just kind of feels like most people are making it day by day. We're just kind of barely making it through. That's probably where most people find themselves, but there are people who are going to find themselves at this place right now called Rock Bottom, where you just feel like it can't get any lower. And we're going to find some encouragement from a lady in the Bible named Naomi and a lady named Ruth who have found themselves also in a place where they hit rock bottom. A lady named Naomi who has just lost her husband, Elimelech. She's lost her 2 sons, and this lady is a very bitter person, rightfully so. I can't blame her, man. Her life has hit rock bottom. So there is a happy ending to this story. There's encouragement here. So we're going to keep on moving through. Today we're going to read a couple more verses starting in verse 6. It says, "Then Naomi heard in Moab that the Lord had blessed his people in Judah by giving them good crops again. So Naomi and her daughter-in-laws, they got ready to leave Moab to return to her homeland. With her 2 daughter-in-laws, she set out from the place where she had been living, and they took the road that would lead them back to Judah." Here's what I love about these verses. I prayed on these verses for a while, is that in the midst of heartache and pain, Naomi was still able to hear hope. In the midst of heartache and pain, Naomi still had the ability to hear hope. Let this be a reminder that we should never withhold the gospel from people, because the gospel message is hope. I know that it's easy to see people. We can look at other people and we can go, they're not interested in the gospel, and they're not at a place in their life, they're very bitter, they're at rock bottom. I'm not going to share the gospel with them. They're not ready to receive it. Naomi was at rock bottom, and she heard a glimmer of hope. She heard that God was providing food back in Judah, and it was enough hope for her to be at rock bottom and to go, I need to get up and I need to go back to Judah. There was hope in that. And I feel like what we do is we kind of rob people of sharing the hope of Jesus with them, because we go, they're just not at a place where they're ready to hear it. Like they're not going to be able to hear it. Here in Ruth, we know that Naomi was bitter, but we also see that she was offered a hope and she was willing to hear it. Do not rob people in pain the gift of hope. What was the hope? It was that Yahweh, it was that God, that he was intervening on behalf of his people. This is so similar to what Jesus did, right? The hope is that Jesus intervened on behalf of people because we are sinners, because we've messed up, that Jesus would intervene on our behalf. You know, I find so much hope from people like Naomi in this story right here, people who are at rock bottom who still decide that they're going to stand up, they're going to move forward, that they're going to at least hear some hope, and they're going to at least chase and pursue some hope. It's so easy to stay at the bottom when you're at rock bottom, and just to stay there and go, you know what, my life is tough and it's not going to get any better from here. I'm just going to stay here. And that's where most people stay. But Naomi hears some hope and she moves forward. She goes and to return back to Judah. Many people will miss out on the blessings that God has in store for them because they're not willing to get up, even if they are at rock bottom. Yes, your circumstances are tough, and I've seen and heard some horrible circumstances that people are going through, but I also know people who have been in those circumstances who have gotten up and who have pursued hope. And when we find ourselves here, we have a choice. We can either stay here and nothing changes, or we can choose to arise and to depart and to chase the hope that God has in front of us. I feel like in regards to rock bottom, that every one of us has a choice. We can either stay there at rock bottom and nothing's going to change and our life is going to be miserable, or we can choose to arise and to depart and to chase hope. I think many people choose to stay there because they don't believe that there's hope out there. They feel like they don't belong there where there actually is hope. They've lost someone, a loved one, they've lost a job, they lost finances, and they honestly, some people just want to stay right there, or some people have actually been told, you should stay here at rock bottom. In this season of life, I find great encouragement from people like Naomi. People who decided to arise and to depart, to go back to the hope that God had put in front of her. There's a lot of encouragement because every one of us are going to find ourselves, if not now, probably at some point, in a place where you feel like you've hit rock bottom. And when you do find yourself there, or if you are there right now, you have a choice. You can arise and depart and you can chase hope, or you can stay right there. And the question that I've been processing through in my mind is, why would people stay at rock bottom instead of getting up and pursuing hope? and this is what I came up with. I believe that people genuinely don't believe that there is hope out there. They think that life is hopeless, and so they stay at rock bottom. A lot of people just want to stay there. Like, it's true. They've lost a loved one, they've lost a job, they've lost their finances, and it's just, they just decide, I just want to stay here. I'm done trying. I don't want to go any further. That's a dangerous place to be, because this isn't the life that Jesus promised to us. The life that Jesus has given to us is an abundant life. Now, that doesn't mean that it's a life that has no trouble, that has no pain. It just means that there's an abundant life because you have a Savior walking through that life with you. I mean, is this not what Jesus did? Didn't he descend in order to ascend? Didn't he go into the pit to come out of it? I mean, let's take notes from Jesus. He didn't stay in the pit. He came out of it because there's abundant life because of what Jesus has done. We don't have to stay in the pit any longer. There's hope. So what does this look like? And if you're going, okay, like I'm at rock bottom right now, how do I get out of it? Like, what do I need to do? Like, I want to pursue hope. What do I do? And here's what I always tell people: one step at a time. Find one positive thing that you can change. Find one thing in your life, if you're at rock bottom, that's a negative thing, and turn it into a positive thing, and start making a step one at a time. The next thing you can do is find you a local church, man. Find you a group of people. Find you a pastor who loves you, who cares for you, who can pray over you. Find a group of people who care for you, who can help show you the hope that's in the scriptures and walk with you through that time. If you find yourself at rock bottom, take notes from the bitter Naomi to get up, depart, and to chase hope. It's like my friends Dumb and Dumber said, so you're saying there's a chance. A little bit of hope goes a long ways. Share hope with those around you who need it, and grab onto hope if you don't feel it.